Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's me, Kenny Polcari, your host of the party, and today is September 15th. And this is the morning market commentary, everything you need to know to get your day started and to think about how you're going to set yourself up. So let's talk about what happened yesterday, right? The CPI, which was the big number, came in cool. Or maybe it was just not as hot as expected, right? And this gives the Fed more cover, right? Markets expect now no announcement about a tapering. Investors, though, are growing a little bit more concerned about an economic slowdown, and that was clear in yesterday's action. And the seasonal volatility is alive and well. And what are we having for dinner tonight? We're having the egg fettuccine and a lemon cream sauce. Oh my God, it is delicious. But we'll get to that in a little bit at the end of the video. Okay, so the Consumer Price Index, otherwise known as the CPI report, revealed that inflation was not running out of control, right? It's hot, but it's not overheating yet. And that's even if you believe it, because it's tough to believe that considering there's other information out there that is suggesting exactly the opposite, and prices in the real world are not coming down at all, at least not for the stuff you need every day like food and energy. And I think the Wall Street Journal article this morning on the front page says it all. I mean, and the headline really reveals it, right? Inflation eased in August, though prices stayed high, right? So they're trying to tell you that, inflation isn't running out of control, although we're still remaining at elevated levels. And the Consumer Price Index rose 5.3% year over year as supply and labor continues to drive up, lack of supply or supply constraints and labor continue to drive up prices. The article goes on to say that used car prices came down, as did airline and hotel rates, which I would argue is baloney. What markets are they referring to? Because the Florida to New York City market hasn't seen any relief at all. In fact, as the summer turns to fall, the rates to go back and forth between Florida and New York are up. And the Holiday Inn, just take the Holiday Inn in FiDi in New York City, is quoting $1,000 for 3 nights. That's $333 a night, just in case you're trying to figure it out. And it's a Holiday Garden Inn. Have you ever been to one? You're lucky if you get a bar or a sliver of soap and a towel, never mind a bed with sheets on it. If you choose to step up one level and go to the Marriott at the World Trade Center, that's going to run you $1,200 for 3 nights. But I'm sure the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Columbus, Ohio route must be seeing some relief. So, in fact, that's good, right? Gas prices, restaurant prices, grocery prices, and housing prices all rose. And those are the prices that matter to the average American. I mean, how many times are you going to buy a used car or you're flying around the country every week? In any event, it is what it is. No matter what, no matter what we're all experiencing, and no matter what the Fed or the government wants to tell us about what we're experiencing. When the news hit the tape, those stocks which had been down in the pre-market because the expectation was for a surge in the CPI suddenly shot higher as the bell rang and investors digested the unexpected weaker report. You see, this weak report now just gives the Fed another reason to sit back and do nothing. So the idea was that the expectation of any announcement related to tapering was no longer happening, and that sent stocks surging until it didn't. And it was only about 30 minutes into the trading day when suddenly stocks didn't about face. Because then the focus now turned to a slowing economy and the massive tax and spend plans that the Democrats are attempting to push through Congress via that reconciliation package, right? And how the Fed's going to handle all of this. They're really between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, they need to normalize. But on the other hand, they keep telling us that they can't, which is really nonsense. They can't. They're just choosing not to, right? For fear of an unraveling. An unraveling that's going to happen at some point. And the longer they kick the can down the road, then the bigger that unraveling is going to be. So in my opinion, you got to get started. Doesn't mean you take the whole thing away in one day. It just means that you begin to wean the economy and investors off the bottle. You have to let the markets reprice. Because right now, they're overvalued based on forward-looking projections and estimates if the Fed begins to taper. If the Fed does nothing, then it's all okay. They'll just push stocks higher. But if the Fed begins to taper, then valuations are going to have to change. Look, Atlanta's GDP now has taken third quarter GDP down to 3.7%, which is down from 6.4% rate seen in the second quarter. But this is not unexpected at all. We knew this. But the issue now is, are they going to take it even lower in the weeks ahead? And if it does, If they do, then what does that mean for the economy going forward? Earnings, which start in a month, are also expected to be up by 24%, but that's down from the second quarter, which ran at a pace of nearly 65%. Recall that 87% of the S&P companies beat across all lines, which is 20% above the longer-term average. Forward-looking 12-month price to earnings for the S&P is now 21 times, which is well ahead of the 5-year average and well ahead of the 10-year average. And those valuations make sense if the Fed continues down this road. But if the Fed should change the rules, then those rates are going to have to come down, and that means that stocks will have to reprice lower. Not a disaster, but it's just not always a bed of roses. So by the end of the day, the market struggled and ended lower. The Dow losing nearly 300 points, the S&P off 26 points, the Nasdaq fell by nearly 70 points, the Russell lost 30, the transports down 160. Every sector was lower. Energy, which led the market higher on Monday, led the market lower on Tuesday. The XLE fell 1.4%, basic materials down 1%, industrials down 1%, and the list goes on. In the end, we're at a crossroads, and the usual September-October anxiety is alive and well, and nobody should be surprised. How long have we been talking about it? How long have I been telling you to be patient, not to worry, do not chase? Lower prices are coming, and I still think we have lower to go. Unless, of course, Jay Powell stays the course, remains dovish, and pushes any idea of tapering into 2022. Look, Jay is going to take this to his grave. That inflation story is transitory, period. And the concerns are rising and while the concerns are rising that the economy is slowing, the Fed will have more work to do, right? Or they're going to risk a swift market meltdown and correction. Because the economy slows, the Fed can't go anywhere. The 10-year yield fell to 1.26%. That's down from 1.3% only 2 days ago. The dollar index fell, oil fell, gold fell, and stocks fell. The VIX rose, and the tension in the room is rising as well. This morning, stocks around the world are all weaker, right? News that Beijing is at it again, only setting the tone. The Chinese economy showed retail sales slowing. The Delta variant is taking the blame. And then news that Beijing is cracking down on casino stocks in Macau. And that sent those casino names plummeting. Wynn Macau down 30% in a day, not over a period of time, in one day. Sands China down 32%. Galaxy Entertainment down 20%. Markets across the Asian region all lower. And in Europe, those stocks are lower as well, right? Not significantly, but they're all churning lower. Investors are reacting to the Chinese data and the Chinese casino news and the the US CPI data. UK inflation soared to a 9-year high in August. Prices rose better than 3% year over year on top of the 2% year over year rise that we saw in July. And this is going to leave the Bank of England stuck between a rock and a hard place as well. In addition, the Germans are getting ready to hold their elections on September 26th, and the race to replace Angie Merkel is on, and the polls are neck and neck as to who's going to be the next chancellor. At about 7 o'clock this morning, European markets were all down about 0.5%. U.S. futures are struggling to stop the bleed. Yes, Dow futures are currently up 32 points. S&P's up 7. Nasdaq up 35. The Russell's up 3. Investors need to believe that inflation is not an issue and that the economy is not deteriorating if the markets are to stabilize. And if that's not the case, then look for further weakness ahead. Can Jay Powell continue to tell this narrative and control the investor reaction? Well, we're going to find out next Wednesday, right? A week from today is when the FOMC comes out. Economic data today includes mortgage apps, which rose by 0.3%. Empire Manufacturing expected to come in at 17.9. Industrial production up 0.5%. Capacity utilization at 76.4. Nothing really dramatic there to worry about. In California, Governor Newsom kept his job as Democrats came out in force to save him. Many of those on mail-in ballots, right? Bitcoin has found some stability, trading at around 47,000, while Ethereum is happy at 3,400. This even as SEC Chair Gary Gensler vows to take on the industry. And actually only emboldened investors because Bitcoin and Ethereum rose after that news. Microsoft this morning announces a $60 billion stock buyback while they raise their dividends. So you can expect Bernie and Lizzie are going to have thoughts on that. The S&P ended the day yesterday at 4443, We tested the near 50-day moving average trend line support, which is 44.27, and that appears to be offering some support. But we're going to really have to test it to be sure that the buyers are defending the level. Expect to see it again, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens today, right? We came very close yesterday. We didn't touch it. We came close. Remember, you can text the word invest at 21,000 on your phone to get my digital business card delivered right to your phone. Feel free to download it, send me off an email, a text, give me a call. I'm always happy to talk markets, ideas, thoughts, concerns, planning, whatever. You can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is just my name, at Kenny Polcari, and you can follow me on Instagram at KennyP1961. And like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you already know you can catch me on YouTube at my YouTube channel, Kenny Polcari Media. Okay, so now it's all about dinner. So what are we having? So today, I'm going to give you this egg fettuccine and a lemon cream sauce. Now look, this is simple to make. It is so good. And it's a great, end of summer, early fall dish. And it's great if you serve it with a fish dish, which we did over the weekend. Remember, I told you, I cooked this dish on Sunday evening, right? This was after the clams al forco, which was really the appetizer. We served this with a grilled halibut. That recipe and picture will come tomorrow, alongside roasted carrots, honey glazed roasted carrots, and roasted fingerling potatoes, tossed in olive oil, seasoned with salt and pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, then roasted in the hot oven, again tomorrow. We included a great big dish of fresh mutts and garden tomatoes, along with a green tomato bruschetta, right? Also very good. But this pasta dish was the pasta dish, right? So for this, you're going to need 1 pound of egg fettuccine. This is important. You need a quart of heavy cream. You need 1 whole stick of butter, 4 lemons for both the zest and the juice. You may only use 3, but you need to have 4 available, even 5 maybe, but whatever. Just make sure you have plenty. And you need plenty of fresh grated Parmigiana cheese, right? So start by bringing that pot of salted water to a rolling boil and then put it on simmer just until you need it. But this way it's ready for you when you need it. Now in a large saute pan that will accommodate the cooked pasta, you're going to add the 1 stick of butter, put the heat on medium, and let the butter slowly melt. When it's melted, you're going to add half the quart of heavy cream, half the quart. Keep the heat on medium. You don't want this to boil, but you want it to just heat all the way through. Now you're going to add the zest of 2 lemons and the juice of 1 lemon, right? So roll it on the counter, cut it in half, squeeze the lemons, pits, whatever, can go right into the sauce. Stir it, mix it. Now add the other half of the quart of the heavy cream to the pan and continue to stir. Now you want to taste it. It's going to need more lemon. So add the zest of the 3rd lemon and the juice of the 2nd lemon. Stir and taste. It's probably not lemony enough yet, but you have to be careful because you don't want it to be overpowering, but you want to know that the lemon is there. So now you have to slowly add the juice of the 3rd lemon, always stirring and tasting as you go along, right? You got to make sure there's a hint of lemon. If not, you keep adding the juice and the zest of the 4th lemon. But like I said, add it slowly because it can go very easily from not enough to too much. And if there's too much lemon, it's a little bit too pungent, and so therefore you won't be happy with it. Once you're happy with the taste, now take a handful of fresh grated Parmigiana cheese, put it right in the cream sauce, stir it and mix it, taste it. You need more? Put another handful in. You can never go wrong with the cheese, right? Now put the pasta in the pot and cook it until al dente. Now be careful because egg fettuccine cooks faster than regular fettuccine, right? So just be there and be on top of it. When it's done, you want to use a set of tongs and remove the pasta from the water, let it drain a little bit, and then put it right in the saute pan with the cream. Do this until you've done all the whole pound of pasta. You want to mix it slowly. You want to toss the egg fettuccine in that sauce, right? Now you want to serve it in warm bowls. You want to add keep the pasta water. You haven't thrown it out. You want to serve it in warm bowls and take a little bit of the pasta water in each bowl and put it on the pasta. Stir it to keep it moist, and then add a little bit more of the cream sauce right on top, and then decorate it with chopped parsley for color. Right? Parsley doesn't do anything, but it really adds color. And make sure that you've got the cheese on the table for your guests, because you can never, ever have enough cheese as far as I'm concerned. You can use this. This is going, this is all going to be like a fish meal, right? So it's the pasta with the lemon sauce. We're going to have halibut. We have the clams I told you. So you can drink this with a chilled white wine or even a rosé wine, as long as you don't get into fall. Because rosé is really more of a summer a summer wine, right? But one way or the other, a chilled white wine goes great with this meal at all. And get ready, because I'm going to post a picture after I post the video. So keep your eyes open, because it was a beautiful dish to look at and it was great to eat. Until then, take good care, and I'll see you tomorrow.